All right, some content for Monday. Hello YouTubers, this is the noobifier, and what I have for you is a very simple topic of discussion that came up in the weekly meeting for the org that I'm a member of, Enemy Contact. We meet and play at least weekly, and it's often a source of interesting questions that sometimes become topics. Many of us, and I don't just mean Enemy Contact, but the general community, have not only backed Starcitizen through buying of ships, but we also subscribe. If you're a relatively new citizen, it's important to understand that unlike pretty much any other MMO that has a subscription service, this is not what the Starcitizen subscription service is. During the usual development and when not in free fly period, all you need is a game package to play as much as you like or as much as you can handle. The $10 or $20 per month subscription serves to directly support the weekly shows and extra content. This was done very early on for transparency to ensure that our backed money went to efforts that develop the game and operate the company, and the growing pool of subscriber money would develop just the community content about the game. My personal motivation is to support the content that keeps us informed. It allows us to have stuff to talk about, and that means that I can make content which benefits me directly, so it's a win-win. In the past, there have been some bumpy spells where some members of the community have felt that the value of the subscription has been watered down from the information-rich ATV and RTV days. I'm not really here to talk about that specific thing today, but in more recent years, I did do a video questioning where all the subscription money goes. That's linked up for you right now. That video had to do with a deeper dive into the estimated revenue generated by the subscription program and the estimated cost that operating everything might be. The comments generated from that video resulted in some great debate and unique perspectives, so just like in that video, it's important for you to comment your comments in the comments of this video. We've actually had a very wide range of Flair and subscription perks in the past. These perks are not the only benefits, as we have early access to PTU, access to the vault, ship of the month, town halls, and others. I'm going to focus on this very small part, which is the monthly Flair item. Now, I'm sure that whoever decided to make the ship skin a Flair item never intended for it to be a source of minor debate. Its delivery, though, can be seen as a change and more than just a monthly Flair item. Because of how the ship skins and paint system's built, the perk is great, but if you don't own the ship as part of your fleet, then is this little push a little way to get us to buy more 100 eyes, or is it nothing more than a slight oversight by the community team that decides such things? This is not to throw shade at the people who work on the game, but I do think it's possible to ask these questions without being rude. So what I prepared is supposed to be fun. It's a rundown of my hangar Flair from when I started. I'm quite certain that many of the older items were made by a small team at Turbulent. These were literally hangar Flair, items which could be placed in our hangars when we had them as trophies, and it's understandable that without the hangars to flare the Flair items in, these have stopped. Many of the items were meant to be placed in the entrance of your hangar, some were meant to be used on the walls, and some were meant to be used in the office space. It was a super fun way to customize your space. Let me show you what was made in the past in chronological order, post up the ones that I missed, and post up your favorites in the comments. I'm gonna butcher this name. The Takusetu model series was a set of fun items that could be put on display stands. A little cardboard box with a little version of a game ship in great detail. The Delta, Avenger, Starfarer, 350R, the Beta, the Hornet, the Sabre, Reliant, and Gamma. The Space Globe perk was a set of 3 animated snow globe style objects that could be also put on display. The set of floor-standing artifacts objects were suspended in glass with a thick connection to lore. Alien artifacts, plating from a Vandal warship, the stone fragment from an expired alien race, the skull of an extinct alien creature, a replica of a warrior's armor. Space plants were 40-centimeter tall glass enclosures, each with a unique species of alien plant life within. We had a set of gold models. They released a set of wall posters. They released a set of paintings. They had a cool set of ICC holograms of probes and stations that were also set on display. There is my personal favorite, which is the Big Benny's noodle machine. I have 2 of them and you're not getting one. New backers may not understand the hours and hours of fun that we had pushing these around corridors, onto the pad, into our ramp-equipped ships to deliver somewhere that they weren't meant to be, such as Port Olisar. You OG backers know what I'm talking about. There was the Master Series of ship blueprints that could be mounted to walls. Oh my god. Taku was back with a set of scale figurines depicting significant moments in history. Now we get into the Guns, Venture, and Voyager days. pistols, shotguns, snipers, all in different colors, complete sets of armors to include suits, legs, arms, torso, helmets were delivered 1 piece per month. This went on for a really long time according to my Flair list because it spans 5 of the 14 pages. I remember being quite underwhelmed and hoping it would stop, but they kept adding more and more colors. The Parasite replica was a really fun piece of Flair that I believe was released just in time for Halloween. We got the ability to equip more eyewear, so we had a couple months where we got glasses, more t-shirts, more knives, and more coats, then glow sticks around the time that we had prisons added to the game. We had some really cool helmets, and then CIG did exactly what I was hoping for, which was to offer complete sets of armor as a single month's perk. More guns, more knives, a business suit, a Nerf gun, which was super fun. More helmets, more guns, more knives, a multi-tool, and a ship skin. So the point of all that was over 14 pages of items, all of them can be used except for one ship skin unless the player buys or happens to own the ship. Our org came up with some suggestions. Many would not currently work with the way the ship paint system is being implemented, and that was to offer a universal skin that could be used on any ship. Again, not currently feasible or reasonable as there are hundreds of ships. Another option was to offer the skin in at least a wider range of ships, ensuring that it's more likely that more players could actually use it. That's not really a complete solution, and it's also difficult to implement. Some suggested giving the ship with the skin, and perhaps that's too big of a perk. So the real suggestion then was to stop offering ship skins as a perk blindly. Everyone agreed that the way it's done for IAE is good, because if you own the ship when the winner's picked, it's attributed to your account. And if you don't have it, you don't get it. So it was actually really fun to look back on this list because I sometimes really missed the days of the lore-based collector's item. The detail in them was superior, the lore behind them tied them in perfectly. Some had some extra functions such as Mr. Refinement, some had some really good Easter eggs in them such as the set of lockers. Armor and guns are fun, but the hangar flare really needs to be considered. We all know that we will eventually get hangars again, and the flare items, to me, are just better. I hope that you enjoyed this tiny look back in history. I often find myself thinking about the past to be reminded about why I backed in the first place. The game is making great progress, and it's a constant source of wonder to me. I hope it is for you as well. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. Subscribe and share with others so I can help keep you entertained. And most importantly, if you're one of the few that made it all the way to the end, the first 4 citizens who email me will be gifted my 2 sand and 2 teal skins for the 100i. I don't own that ship and I never will, so might as well give them to the community. Fly safe and I'll see you in the verse.